Hello everyone, it's Shar. Welcome back to my channel. I'm gonna address this right away. I'm not having a great mental health day, so if my energy is off this video, that is exactly why. But I've seen a few people do this video and I am a KU girly through and through, although I haven't been using it that much this year, and I figured it could be fun for me to sit down and tell you all of the books that are on my Kindle Unlimited TBR and what I'm planning to get to over the next few months. We're going to have quite a variety of genres here, but primarily romances. So let's jump in. The first book on my Kindle Unlimited TBR is Heart Haunt Havoc by Freitas Moon. I'm very sure I mispronounced that, but this is a graphic novel slash comic, which is supposedly very, very gory, and it just sounds right up my street. Here's the tagline for it: laced with romance, gothic imagery, Catholic mysticism, diaspora, and horror. That sounds right up my street. So in this book, we're following two characters. We have Colin and we have Bishop. Now, Colin is a transgender man living in this town, and he is an exorcist, and he finds himself challenged by this extremely haunted house owned by a non-binary person named Bishop. This is supposedly some of their romance, but I'm here for all of the horror, the gore, the gothic elements in it. It's going to read very, very quickly. As you can tell by the cover, the art style is absolutely stunning, so I'm excited to get to this. Next book on this list is Court of the Vampire Queen, the full title being Court of the Vampire Queen, a spicy polyam MMMF romance. So we have a poly romance. It's just called Court of the Vampire Queen. That's the Amazon tagline. This is by Katie Robert, and here we go. 3 powerfully alluring vampire men and 1 queen to rule them all. This is heavily influenced by TikTok. I saw someone on TikTok say, I read this book and like 300 pages of it was just smut. And I said, sign me up, bestie. That sounds like my thing. I was gonna summarize this for you, but let me just read the summary to you because it's gonna convince you. I didn't even know that was the summary. All Mina ever wanted was to escape her father's control. Half human, half vampire, she lived eternally, torn between 2 worlds, never fully experiencing the pleasures of either, until her father chose her as the pawn in his latest political move, gifting her to the darkly powerful and dangerously seductive Malachi Zion. Malachi is not a vampire to be trifled with. He rules with an iron fist and has a reputation for the darkest of sins. But the longer Mina spends with him, the more she realizes he's not the monster she first thought. And as fear bleeds into lust, then trust, then something more. Malachi opens Mina up to a world she never knew could be hers for the taking, including the love of Malachi's 2 closest friends and companions. Now surrounded by all 3 men, the center of their shockingly seductive world, Mina may finally have the power to face down her father and take back the life and crown that by all rights should be hers. Long live the queen. I'm gonna have a good time with this one. I have another monster romance. I think the vampire one is more like fantasy romance, but let's just say this is Captured by the Orc General, Monstrous Mates Book 2. Another book influenced by TikTok somewhat, and that I've seen a lot of Charlotte Swan's TikToks, so let's check this out. In this book, we are following, I'm gonna say Kaith and Bazor. Bazor is an orc and Kaith is a human. We live in this fantastical world here. Kaith is an alchemist, and she only knows 2 things: that drinking tea made from steeped river hearts will cure almost everything, and never ever trust an orc. In this one, I believe she's been warned to stay away from like the orc territory, Broken Bone Mountain, and she hears word of her missing brother one day, and she ends up going to that territory. While she's doing that, she sees that there is someone in danger. It is an orc commander. He ends up having his life saved by this woman Kaith and offers her safe passage through this mountain while she plays healer to his people. The lights are passing and they are slowly getting closer and closer. I have no idea if I'm going to enjoy this. I kind of impulsively added it to my TBR because Amazon also recommended it to me, so I'll let you know what I think of it, and you'll see in a wrap up if I DNF it. This next book was 100% influenced by Riley, and you will know this because it is Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. I was so surprised to see that this is now on Kindle Unlimited. This is a dark romance, and it has a lot of torture. In this book, we're following Cora and Dean. Dean is her sister's boyfriend, and these two do not get along. They're constantly bickering, they're constantly fighting, and one day they get kidnapped by a serial killer. And this serial killer kind of is known for taking his victims, torturing them, and locking them in a basement together, forcing them to fall in love, and then killing them. That's the situation that they find themselves in. I believe for the first 40 pages of this book, you are in that situation with them while they are being brutally tortured. But you all know I'm not a dark romance girly. But after that, what happens is that they do end up escaping. That's not a spoiler, that's literally the plot of the book. This follows them in the years after that and how they are trying to find healing, the trauma that they both endured throughout that situation, them trying to live their lives, experiencing the horrendous things that they did experience, and them obviously being closer together because they have that shared experience. That's not a great summary, but what I will tell you is that Riley rates this very highly, and she said that this is one of the only books where she genuinely thinks that these two characters are soulmates. So I would say I'm excited to read this book. That's not accurate. I'm scared to read this book, but I have full faith in Riley's recommendation for it. Then I have a sapphic romance, a book that I am currently in the process of reading. My hair will just continue to do this, and we will sit here and vibe with it. This is Meeting Millie by Claire Ashton, a pick that I picked up because of Chandler. We love being influenced by BookTube. This is an Oxford romance. As I mentioned, it's a sapphic romance. In this book, we're following Millie and we are following Charlotte. Millie and Charlotte met when they were first years at Oxford. They were both studying law. And when this book opens up, we get to see their first interactions 13 years ago. Then we flash forward to present day, where both girls are now in their 30s, and all you know as the reader is that they have not spoken in over 10 years. Now, Millie moved back to Oxford about 4 years or so ago, and now Charlotte has moved back to Oxford for a new opportunity. Oxford is not a big city, it is a pretty small place, so these two have a run-in with each other, their circles overlap, and this is a second chance. I would say a second chance romance, but it's not a second chance romance. I would say it's more, it's always been you. So I am about halfway through this book. I will tell you that I am really enjoying it. It is super sweet and super cute. It's not heavy on the romance so far, but that is the summary for it. It is really enjoyable, and this cover is beautiful. And guess what has a sequel now? It's the sequel to Luxuria, Superbia. Superbia follows the sister of our main character in book 1, Luxuria. I'll give you the summary for Luxuria, and then I'll tell you more about Superbia. I really look like an ant right now. In Luxuria, we are following a girl who used to be part of a hunter group, and these hunters hunted shadows or shadow people who fed off of the negative emotions of other people. They have that society of hunters to prevent that. She was part of that society, but she wanted to fuck the monsters. She really did. She didn't think that they should be killing them. She drew a lot of erotic art around her fantasies with these monsters. Her parents find it, and the hunters promptly kick her ass out. Now it is several years in the future, and the hunters and these shadow people are trying to form a truce of sorts where they're like, we'll leave each other alone. And in order to do that, they're doing that through a marriage. There is no other person who is suitable to the marriage. So they reach back out to her and they're like, so you wanted to fuck monsters? You should marry this guy. She's like, actually, I fucking hate all of you and you can go choke and die, but I am gonna get me a monster husband. So I agree. So she goes and does that. It is very smutty. It is a lot of sex scenes, a lot, but it is also a fantasy. There is an underlying plot. You are learning more about this world. And there's, of course, this undercurrent kind of mystery going on of these two people, why they fit together so well, and what the true history is between the hunters and the shadow people. Book 2, as I mentioned, follows her sister Astrid. Astrid was not kicked out of the hunters. In fact, Astrid is a top hunter. I can't spoil what happens for you, but just know that this is her love story. And she is now working with a shade. That's what they're called. So this shade is kind of like the commander of whatever it is that they do. They do not like each other. It's gonna have that enemies to lovers situation. I don't need to know anything else outside of that because I love Luxuria. So of course I picked up Superbia as soon as I saw that it came out. You know what else is on Kindle Unlimited? Anatomy, a Love Story by Dana Schwartz. It is. If you have KU and you have not checked this book out, I'm telling you, run now before they snatch it away from KU. I don't know much about this, but I know that it's a gothic semi-romance set in Edinburgh at the time of grave snatchers. In this book, we're following Hazel and we are following Jack. Now, Hazel really wants to be a surgeon, but she is a woman. She is not allowed to do that. So she's trying to attend this lecture at the Anatomist Society and she gets kicked out because she's a woman. And when she gets kicked out, she runs into Jack, who's a grave robber, and she realizes that if she ever wants a chance to be a surgeon, she's gonna have to get practice on her own. Can you see where this is going? There is a history of surgeons and doctors and grave robbers. That is a real history. These two come together because of that. So he is digging up bodies for her to do her practice on. That's their agreement. But Jack has a problem because his friends going missing, disappearing right off the streets. And there's a virus decimating the population. And that's really all I need to know. Hazel and Jack have to work together to figure out what the hell is going on. What is this mystery? What is this secret? Why are these people going missing? If you know the history of Edinburgh, this happened in a lot of places, but I recently went to Edinburgh and I did this tour. So I'm picturing the exact spot I was standing in. I'll leave my Edinburgh vlog linked here somewhere so that you can know what I mean. You know why his friends are going missing. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm so fucking excited to read this. And the second book just came out, so we'll get to that soon. This recommendation was from one of you all. I love Ruby Dixon, so I did not need further convincing. This is Bound to the Battle God. This might be a fun one for me to read the summary to you because it's very indicative of Ruby Dixon's style of writing. When I went to my neighbor's apartment to investigate the strange sounds, I never expected to fall through a portal into another world. Yet here I am, a stranger in an even stranger land, and I'm stranded. In this world, might makes right, men carry swords, and gods walk the earth. Within minutes of arriving, I'm enslaved. Fun place. How do I get home? Great question. I wish I had an answer. The one person that might be able to help me is the one person I want to throttle most. Aaron, Lord of Storms, Butcher God of Battle, is my new companion. Or rather, I'm his. As Aaron's anchor to the mortal realm, I'm the one that's supposed to be guiding him through his exile into the mortal world. Ha, joke's on him. I know nothing about this place, but Aaron and I have a common goal. Get home. And we're bonded. Anchor and God, with a bond like any other. So we travel together, we bicker, we bathe together, we fight our many, many enemies together. And sure, he's a god, but he's also an arrogant jerk. Brawny, smoking hot, irresistible jerk. I should want nothing to do with him. I certainly shouldn't want to do things to him. Mortals and gods don't mix. We stick to the plan and ignore our attraction, focused with one goal in mind. One task, one goal, focused. Oh heck, I'm gonna end up kissing him again, aren't I? This is a long ass book. I'm not gonna lie to you. This book is like 600 pages or something like that. But I'm a monster girly. I trust your recommendations. I'm so excited to read this. That line of mortals and gods don't mix. I'm like, we mix all the time. We have a bunch of stories of demigods, but I'm very, very excited to read this. I have been in the mood. I've actually been thinking of doing another Kindle Unlimited like reading vlog. Let me know if that's something that you're interested in because I have a ton of videos planned out. So you can always let me know so I can prioritize that one to be one of the ones that come up next. In case you don't know, I post every single Wednesday and Sunday. Had to adjust the lighting for a minute. Wow, this is a long ass fucking list. There's 20 books you can check out at a time with Kindle Unlimited. I'm going to try to go quickly. Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. This is a book that has recently gotten a lot of popularity. I am reading the book on script, but it's also available on Kindle Unlimited, so I can do a tandem mixed media read. In this book, we are following Tisana. And Tisana is a slave. Her people were enslaved after a war. She bargained to become a slave and not be sent to a mine, which is essentially a death sentence. So she does. She has an incredibly, there's no easy way to say this, like traumatic. It's traumatic. She's a slave. She has encountered so many horrendous things, has so many things done to her, but one day she is able to purchase her freedom from her owner. And then this story really kicks off when she goes to this other realm to become a member of the order and try to get them to help her free her people. She goes there. For some reason, they agree to train her because of course she has magical powers, and they agree to help her out. But part of their rules is that no person is able to do that unless they have apprenticeship. There's only one person who's available for apprenticeship, and he does not fucking want to do it. He's not interested. He hates the order. He has no interest in training Tasana. He wants to be left alone in his cottage, but he has no choice but to agree. So that's what this story is about. It is an epic fantasy. There is some romance in here. I've heard it's very, very, very slow burn. I've heard that the first 50% of this book is pretty cozy, and the last 50% is all action. So you will hear my thoughts on how I feel about this in a reading wrap up, because this is not part of a vlog. I believe this was also influenced by a booktuber, but I have no idea who. Real Players Never Lose by Michaela Smeltzer. I don't know the female's main character because it doesn't say, but we are following Teddy and we are following his love interest in this book, our female main character. They both go to the same college, but her tuition has been pulled. Teddy is hella fucking rich. He hears about this. He's a player. He has no interest in being in a relationship, but his dad is kind of on his ass and he's like, you need to fucking have a girlfriend. Stop playing. Let's get serious. So Teddy takes this opportunity. He says, hey, I'm gonna pay your tuition, but I need you to be my fake girlfriend. And she's like, why do you want me to be your fake girlfriend? I think it's something along the lines of, because you're the only girl who wouldn't fall for me. And that commences our romance novel. You can see where that's going to go. I don't have any thoughts outside of this. I know that it is almost 500 fucking pages, but I trust the recommendation and I am excited to get into this. If I'm right, but I could definitely be wrong, I think this is also a plus size romance or a mid-size romance. And I always love to see that in books. A lot of these books were influenced by booktubers because we have A Quiet Life in the Country by T.E. Kinsey, 100% influenced by Meg. So this is book one of the Lady Hardcastle series. It also has an Audible companion, which I love when Kindle Unlimited has that option. In this book, you're following Lady Emily Hardcastle, and I believe it is a murder mystery. So we're following Emily, and we are following her maid Florence Armstrong, who is an expert in martial arts. Emily has a secret past. The year is 1908, and they have both left London for the countryside for hopes of a quieter life. But too bad for them. There is a dead body in the woods, and they are brought into that investigation. And it's like small town murder mystery. I fucking love a murder mystery book, so I know that I'm going to enjoy this. Plus, it's very short. There's an Audible companion. It's book 1 of 9. I'm hoping I'm gonna love this so I can have a cozy series to fall back on whenever mood reading bites me in the ass. Of course, I have a haunted house story. This is Haunted Perron Manor by Lee Montford. This is a book that I saw on Goodreads recommended to me, and I was like, yeah, why not? I've been missing my Darcy Coates hits, and I think she's removed a lot of her books from Kindle Unlimited. But in Haunted Perron Manor, we are following two sisters, Sarah and Chloe, and they have both inherited a house from their uncle. Of course, this house has a fucking dark as hell murderous reputation, but they're like,
it's a house. Let's go for it.
So they move in together. One of the sisters has a husband and a young child, and when they move in, of course, the house is haunted. They find a locked room full of occult stuff. There are cold spots and weird smells, and I'm very sure the devil at some point is gonna pop up in this book. And we've come full circle back to monster romance. This is Entranced by the Basilisks by Lillian Lark. If you've been here for a while, you remember the reading vlog where I read this one by Lillian Lark, which I'm very sure was about a swamp creature. This is a poly romance. And I'm just going to read this to you because I'm lazy. A human who opened the wrong magical book, her stern boss, and his friend who says he can help. I've been cursed, not metaphorically. Not, oh no, I spilled my coffee, or I broke a heel. No. I've been cursed by a book, and now I'm a danger to everyone I care about. After finding out that the things that go bump in the night are real a few weeks ago, this is doing nothing for my peace of mind. Pair it all with the fact that the boss I can hardly speak to seems to be the only one with any answers, and the tension between him and the seductive expert he's brought in. This outlook for the group project is alarming, but my body is acting like it knows things my mind won't accept. You said basilisks, I said okay. Heartless by Elsie Silvers. Influenced by seemingly all of romance booktube, I know this is a nanny romance and a grumpy single dad. We have Cade, it's also age gap. So we have Cade and we have a female character who is not named in this summary. Cade is a single father. He needs a nanny. He's being very selective about who is going to nanny his child. One of his friends is like, hey, there is this girl. She'd be perfect for the job. You should interview her. She gets the job and it is their love story. It's a cowboy romance. I've been thinking about doing an entire spoiler-filled reading vlog on the, I always want to call it Less series. That's not what it's called. Chestnut Springs, a Chestnut Springs novel. I've been thinking about doing that. Let me know if you're interested as well. Otherwise, I'll just read the novels on my own. We're coming to our final 3 books. This is the last monster romance on my Kindle Unlimited TBR, and it's one that I'm having a hard time with. Ensnared by Tiffany Roberts. Now this is an alien romance, but as you can see, he's a fucking spider. He's a spider. He's a spider. He's one of the greatest hunters. He didn't want a mate. He goes in to his like queen's nest area. His queen really wants to bang him. He's like, I don't fucking want you. While he's there, he finds a human, and this human is Ivy, and it is their love story. Ivy's gonna fuck a spider. That would be a fun reading vlog. A TikTok influence book. This is a thriller and it is Run on Red by Noelle Millie. I definitely mispronounced that. It's also categorized as horror suspense. I'm gonna have a good time. In this book, we are like, it's a road trip horror. So we're following Laura and Olivia. They're on a very rural country road. There is no cell phone signal at all. And they notice that someone has been following them through the hills. But by the time they notice, it's too late. What seems at first like a case of road rage quickly unfolds into a heart-pounding chase and a battle for survival. Who are the men in the truck? What do they want? And can Laura and Olivia outrun and outsmart them long enough to call for help, even if it means taking their chance on foot? The TikTok that convinced me was like, she could not stop reading it. Like, she read it all the way through. Just that summary alone has convinced me that I'm going to love this. It's also under 300 pages, so I will let you know what I think. And if anything, this video is just convincing me that I should do a Kindle Unlimited reading vlog, because in my heart of hearts, I am a KU girly. And my final book on this list is She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chen. Now, you all know this story. It is a fantasy. It has a lot of love and well-deserved hype. I am scared, but I'm also so freaking excited to read this. So in this book, we are following Zhu. And Zhu has a brother. Her brother gets like this prophecy that he's destined for a great future. He's gonna have a great fate. However, homeboy fucking dies and Zhu takes his place. It's the 1300s in China. It is under Mongol rule. Zhu goes to study at a monastery as a young male. This is often pitched as a Mulan retelling. I believe that's not really the case. I think there's a lot more depth in there, but this cover is absolutely stunning. This story sounds epic in every way possible. I am in my fantasy era, so I am very excited to read this book and to be absolutely consumed by it. But there you have it, my darlings. That is my entire Kindle Unlimited TBR at the moment. Those are all the books I'm excited about. There's a few on there that I'm about to return because I'm not enjoying them, which is why it's not in this video, so I still have like 5 more slots that I can fill with other books. If you have Kindle Unlimited, or if you have recommendations for books that are on Kindle Unlimited within any genre, I don't have a specific genre that I'm like, I only read from here, let me know, because I would love your recommendation. And with that said, make sure to subscribe before you leave, because I would love to have you stick around, and it just supports me and this channel. And I will see you next time. Bye.